Whittaker Weekly is a 3-episode anime discussion podcast where two brothers discuss a show of their choice. The show can be anything from a current season flop to a decades-old classic. What are they going to talk about next? Who knows? They sure don't. I'm Andrew.
I'm Lee.
And this is Whittaker Weekly. Let's get right to it. So you found some news to share. So why don't we go ahead and start with that?
All right. So first things first, Anime News Network just picked up the information today that Crunchyroll is adding Cabaneri of the Iron Fortress to its anime catalog.
Does that mean Amazon's losing it, or it's just something that Crunchyroll is adding?
I don't know. I mean, I know that apparently Amazon and Netflix in Japan both had Cabaneri of the Iron Fortress. But I don't know if... and I know that Netflix in the US about September 12th got one of the movies. I thought it was a season 2, but I was wrong. It's just the Battle of...
Oh, so Netflix
Unatau
has the movie.
is a sequel. Netflix has a sequel film called Cabaneri of the Iron Fortress, The Battle of Unatau.
Does Amazon not have that? Is it just Netflix?
I didn't check Amazon to see if they also had it. I just happened to see it on one of their video banners on Netflix as I was browsing around. But yeah, it just reads here that it started streaming September 13th.
Okay.
But the film itself opened in Japan on May 10th. Or 2-week limited engagement, opened at number 10 at the box office, and topped mini theater ranking in its opening weekend. So, that's pretty cool.
Okay.
Now, the other big... So, now that's a show we both watched, and here in its accolades in this article, it mentions the anime reunited director Tetsuro Araki and Wit Studio, the team responsible for Attack on Titan. Code Geass creator Ichiro Okuchi wrote the scripts. Character design by Haruhiko Mikimoto, who did Macross 7 and Gunbuster.
Haruhiko Mikimoto, okay.
And Hiroyuki Sawano, who did the music, also did the music for Attack on Titan.
Okay.
So, a lot of people try to compare it to Attack on Titan, and the story is not as deep as Attack on Titan, but don't let that stop you from watching it. It's a really good show.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was really good.
Okay. The other piece of news I found was that Japan honors Mario creator Shigeru Miyamoto as Person of Cultural Merit.
Okay.
It says that this year Shigeru Miyamoto is getting this award, and so is a manga artist who's been working for like 40 years, Moto Hagio. I read through her biography, but I didn't see anything that or her bibliography. I didn't see anything that I recognized. Like They Were 11, A Drunken Dream, and Other Stories, The Heart of Thomas, Otherworld, Barbara. Just didn't recognize those titles. But somebody else who's also on the list of people who are getting this is film director Nobuhiko Obayashi, who did The Girl Who Leapt Through Time.
Okay.
Yeah, so the director of The Girl Who Leapt Through Time is also getting this award.
Which is amazing if you guys haven't seen it. It's so intense. It's so good.
The first time I watched it, and it was kind of weird, because the first time I watched it on a streaming service that kept jumping to different parts of the anime. I wasn't entirely sure if this was intentional or if it was just a bad rip of the show. I was glad I was able to. It's not as confusing as that when you watch it chronologically correctly. It says that previous recipients included manga and anime creator Leiji Matsumoto, who is responsible for Space Pirate Captain Harlock and Galaxy Express 999. He received it in 2001. And in 2012, that award went to Hayao Miyazaki.
Neat.
So, Persons of Cultural Merit Award. It's apparently
awesome.
it's a national award. It's a the Japanese government hands it out. So
okay.
And those are the 2 bits of news.
A little bit of slow stuff. Okay. But anyways, I want to go ahead and share this tweet that a friend just forced on me. I want to make all of our listeners / viewers suffer with me. In brief, I think that Thanos was feeling a cosmic rush. Someone working that hard oughtn't to have phrased his will into such a weirdly inefficient solution. I think that the power hit him and he made a hurried decision. So it was a snap judgment.
And now you've inflicted it on the rest of us.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to 3 episodes in.
3 episodes in, and it was your pick this week. So how about you go ahead and let our viewers, or how about you read the description?
All right. Holic is what we watched this week. And the description reads from the Funimation.com synopsis. Watanuki's been haunted by dark spirits his entire life. His incessant demons drag him to the ornate door of the dimensional witch Yuko, a mysterious woman of insight and luxury who is quick to help those in a bind, for a fee. One might very well end up paying with their soul. To be free of his visions, Watanuki will work in her strange shop of dreams and wishes.
Okay. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. So the very first bit of it, our main character, Watanuki, he is walking down the street, looking like he's going to school or home from school. He's in his uniform with his bag, his little suitcase, briefcase, I guess.
In a handful of shots that basically scream, spot the protagonist level 1.
Everybody else is grayed out but him.
Yeah, so this anime came out in 2006. And so it kind of has that same effect that what was it? Why am I forgetting the name of it all of a sudden? Azumanga Daioh, how every once in a while they'd have group scenes, but only the main characters would be colored in, and everyone else is basically a paper cutout. So, like that.
Oh yeah, no. Like I've also the thing that came to my mind was season 1 of Ruby, where all the other NPCs, all the non-dialogued characters, they were all just gray, pretty much bodies. So yeah, it's not uncommon, especially when the anime doesn't have that great of a budget.
Yeah. And you don't want the shot to be too busy anyway. You kind of just want to establish he's in a crowd, but he's the focus. And so it's an easy way to establish that. And I don't have a problem with it.
No, me neither. I mean, it was fine. It was fine. But anyways, he is walking down the street, and there's all this noise all around him, and he is getting more and more annoyed with the noise. Until eventually he says, "Shut up, leave me alone," something along those lines, and he's running down the street. And then we get to see it from his perspective, and there are all these black smoke creatures, these evil spirits, all around him. And they all seem to be just grabbing onto him until eventually they knock him down.
Yeah, then the style of these demons reminded me of Mob Psycho 100 when they're dealing with some evil spirits as well, because it's a very similar style of these that these demonic entities take on.
Yeah. And for me, like, this show's weird. Not bad. Just it starts off with this bit where he's walking down the street, and it's very, very comical how he tries to get away from these spirits. Like, he is very, very much struggling to get away from them. But they they tackle him, and then we see from the perspective of the rest of the people, where he is just rolling all around, trying to get away from these things that only he can see. And to me, that was a fairly humorous opening. But the show is very, very... there's definitely a lot of humor throughout the show. But the show did not meet the tone that I felt was established by this opening shot. But anyway. So after that, he... pretty much to avoid these ghosts, he winds up in a house.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. They dogpile him. He's on the ground. People are walking all around him, kind of whispering to themselves, wondering what his deal is, as he's on the ground, and they don't see anything on him. And he's rolling around trying to get away from these things when his hand slaps a wood fence, and suddenly they all disappear. And so he's literally drawn in to this place that he's found. Like, his legs are moving without his permission.
Yeah, anyway,
he meets the twins. What are their names? The twin maids.
I didn't write them down. But they're very much the trope of, giggling girls who seem to be in on a joke that the main character is not in on.
Yes.
But anyways,
so the maids bring him in, and he somehow manages to kick off his own shoes, and they bring him into the main, like, reception area, and lounging luxuriously across some ornate duvet of some kind is the other main character, Yuko. And Yuko, when we first see her, she reminds me a lot of Yugiri from Zombieland Saga, the courtesan zombie. She's wearing this loose-fitting kimono, and is playing up this whole kind of an ancient Japan elegance, that she's just enjoying herself in this way.
Okay. But he comes in. Sorry, Toby's doing weird things again. Toby, stop playing with that. This is the naughty kitty.
Hello, Toby. Goodbye, Toby.
Sorry, what were we talking about? Cat got in the way.
We had Watanuki had just met Yoko, and Yoko is acting all mysterious and manages to get out of him what his name and date of birth are, and then warns him that telling your name and date of birth to somebody can give them power over you in mystic ways.
Just kind of teasing him for being so naive that he gave his name and date of birth to a complete stranger. And Watanuki's name, she also gets his watch from him, says, "What's in your pocket?" type thing as he's about to leave. And then he hands her, for reasons that he doesn't even know, he hands her his pocket watch. And she opens it up, and inside is carved his name, Watanuki. Full name is Watanuki Kimihiro. And the kanji for Watanuki is also the same kanji for April 1st, which is also his birth date.
Yes.
So his birth date and his name are the exact same. And again, that kind of led me think that this was going to be kind of a more lighthearted, silly show than it's turned out to be. because his name is literally April Fool's Day.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, anyways, he, trying to remember what else happens in that episode. Oh, like she's pretty much just mocking him the entire time, and he gets fed up. So she that's right. She gives him a job. Sorry, we watched this. We watched the show yesterday. We were going to record last night, but so she gives him a part-time job.
Well, what happens is
mm-hmm.
she takes his watch as payment for we don't know what. She just knows that she took his watch and is keeping it.
Mm-hmm.
And then she says he came here for a wish, and his wish was that the ghosts would leave him alone. He wouldn't see them anymore. And she goes off on this monologue about equivalent exchange, and it says you can't. It says in order to receive this gift, you have to pay something of equal value. And so she says, in order to not see the ghosts anymore, you have to work for me as a part-timer. And so, against his will, almost, he ends up becoming her part-timer. And then he gets sent on his first task, which is to buy a whole lot of food for a banquet. And on his way around
his welcoming party, they say.
He has to cook for his own. Yeah.
Well, he has to cook. He has to buy the food, and she's like, "I'll pay you back for it."
Yeah.
So,
but she sends him off.
Oh, she also sends him to go find
a plushie,
someone who just woke up.
Oh yeah. So she sends him to go find something in her storeroom, and that's where we're introduced to Mokona. Now Mokona is a Moogle-like plushy-ish thing where it's got a gem on its center of its forehead and it's shaped like an egg bun with ears. It's a little Ryo-Oki. It's a little like a Moogle. It's just a little. It mostly looks like a plushie.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
This character, now we don't know this in the first 3 episodes of this show, but that character plays a major role in Tsubasa. That turns out that there's a white one that joins the crew in Tsubasa, and it turns out the black one and the white one have a dimensional link in their bellies. So what one chooses to, they can eat something, and the other one spits out across dimensions. Which in the manga, there's a hilarious little bit where the dimensional witch sends the people in Tsubasa, or Yuko sends the people in Tsubasa chocolates for Valentine's Day. It says, I'll be expecting mine. And she gives them an order that's like 10 times that much chocolate to be sent back to her.
Yeah, on the wiki, I saw a couple of things tying the two stories together.
Yes.
Tying Holic and Tsubasa Chronicles. Anyways, so he then goes, and he doesn't really want to buy a lot of food, but this little spirit's just like, you'll get paid back for it, and just keeps putting stuff in his in his bag. On the way back, he comes across a group of girls, high schoolers.
Yes.
And one of them is talking about how she can see spirits, and it's so scary, and like she's super depressed and sad all the time. And her friends are, comforting her, being like, "Oh, you're such a good person. You're so good." And she's like claiming that evil spirits possess her, so they can go ahead and be redeemed and move on to the next world. Is what she's telling her friends. And the entire time, Watanuki is just watching her, and we've already established that he can see spirits. He's affected by spirits. And he doesn't see a thing around this girl at all the entire time they're talking. And finally, he tries, she gets on the ground and is freaking out, saying how much pain she's in. And he goes and talks to her and just says, "You're fine. It's okay. There's no spirits inside of you." And she instantly starts, accusing him of being, of lying, or not really of lying, but of being like, "Oh, how cute. You don't see, you like, oh, like the innocence of those not burdened, with things like that.
Yeah.
And he's just like, he doesn't say anything, but his expression is just like, are you serious?
Yeah.
So, and like the girls insult him, saying, how dare, like, you come after our friend. You have no idea how hard it is for her. And they all go off together.
And then he watches the spirit that had been harassing him.
Oh yeah, spirit had been
possess her.
harassing him since the grocery store, and then it possessed the girl. And he tried to get the spirit to stop, but the spirit just kind of smiled and went forward and possessed her. And we see that her skin actually goes from peach to pale, to kind of grayish.
So what we did, so we ended up basically watching a Chunibyo get her wish.
Yeah, we saw her get her wish, and he goes and he drops off the food, goes back to the house, drops off the food, and he said, "Did you know that if he talks to Yuko, saying like, did you know I was going to see that? Did you know that was going to happen?" And she's just like, I'm here to grant wishes. That girl got exactly what she wanted. She wanted to be possessed by an evil spirit. She's now possessed by an evil spirit.
Not all the things we want, not all the things we wish for are actually good for us.
Mm-hmm. And she, and then he gets upset, leaves the food and drops off the food and leaves. Mm-hmm. And the two girls are like, "Oh, he's gone." And Yuko says, "Oh, he'll be back." End of the episode. The very next shot is the end of the episode, and he's outside the house again, and he's just like, "I'm only showing up to get paid back for that food."
Yes.
And that's the end of the episode.
Now, I've read the first 3 chapters of the manga, and I want to say what's happening is that they're grabbing a couple of... I read the first 3 volumes. So the first 18 chapters or so, depending on how many chapters they stick into a volume. They're usually about 6. And so I think they're jumping around a bit in terms of which chapters are deciding to turn into episodes. So the first episode is how it plays out in the manga as well. The second episode is the story of a young lady who is also a compulsive liar. And the show gets pretty dark after this point. It didn't maintain a light, airy chobit. It didn't the same kind of light, airy sense that most Clamp products tend to. Now, I understand that Studio Clamp consists of 4 women who love drawing manga, and they'll collaborate and work together, but each one of them has a kind of a different personality, so they'll want to do different things. And I think they all have a slightly different art style from each other, so you can kind of tell, okay, I mean, they produce things like Cardcaptor Sakura, Chobits, Angelic Lair, Magic Knight Ray Earth, and Holic, and you can kind of tell that each one borrows, like, there's similarities, but they also have their own distinct styles as well going on. And actually, something I think I noticed is while finding out about this is that Tsubasa, each of the 4 main characters might have been the favorite character design of the 4 women who work on Clamp. Because one of the characters, Phi, matches the long-bodied style of long-bodied and not well-jointed, or kind of wavy-jointed style that seems to be pretty present here in Holic as well. And then they also did a couple of more, action-oriented anime, like they did I think it was a vampire series called X.
Did they do X?
They did X.
Huh.
And so not everything's light and airy, but some of the more action-based stuff was definitely reminded me a lot of Kurogane. They're the samurai that goes with them. And then obviously you have Sakura and Sharon from the original Sakura series. Just watching the 4 of them come together. Interesting. Anyway, that's a different anime altogether.
Yeah. So in episode 2,
Yes.
He's working at her place, and we first encounter his school friends. I want to say in episode 2, the girl that he obviously has a crush on. I think Himawari, I think was her name.
That's
Two
right.
massive curls, like two pigtails that are just in massive curls on her head, and then some guy that he absolutely despises called Domeki, who doesn't know why Watanuki hates him. Just doesn't get it. Domeki is very, very down to earth, very realistic, and he later on we learned that like he pretty much believes everything that Watanuki says about like seeing other spirits and the things that he experiences and stuff like that. So for some reason, it's possibly because he thinks that Himawari likes Domeki.
He sees Domeki as a
rival,
as a romantic rival for the affections of Himawari, because Himawari is quick to compliment anybody. She's just a sweetheart who might not be interested in romance, just in being nice to everybody. And he would very much like to be in a romantic relationship with her, but he just sees every other man as somebody better than him, specifically this guy.
Roughly 2,000 years after a man had been nailed to a tree for saying, "Oh, wouldn't it be grand to be nice to each other for a change?" That's a butchered quote from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. If you've never seen those movies or read those books, anyway. So we're introduced to them. He then goes to work, and because Himawari is excited for him for having a part-time job. And a customer comes in. And Yuko is very flirtatious and lighthearted and silly when it's just him, her, and the twins.
Yes.
And I also noticed something in this episode that Yuko, the witch, had a completely different outfit on than in episode 1, which is very rare for anime. Most of the time, in order to save on budget or whatever, characters do not wear this. Characters usually always wear the exact same clothes. Like I had some friends like Vision of Escaflowne, Vaughn, when his wings first pop out, like he takes off his red shirt, but every single episode he somehow has that red shirt again, no matter what happens to it in the previous episode.
Yeah.
And so my friends would always say, Vaughn and his unlimited supply of red shirts. It's
a common trope. And usually costume design changes signify a major event,
a change in arc.
Yeah. I mean, usually, like, they can get away with a lot of high school-based anime by having everybody in a uniform, and then sometimes those high school anime are also, magical girl anime, so they also have one costume as a magical girl and one costume as, like, and then occasionally, just for special occasions, they'll have them in street clothes or doing something different.
Because they're doing something, or they'll have, they'll be at a pool or something like that, or
swimsuit
a gym
episode,
class,
or the festival episode where everybody's in a yukata,
yukata or a kimono. But Yuko, she, her outfit is completely different. It's still a kimono, but it's completely different design. And she changes every episode.
Era.
Huh?
It's like a different era as well.
I don't know. I'm not trying to prove you wrong. I just don't know enough about kimono to be able to confirm or deny that. But anyways, I just noticed that, and again in episode 3, I think she's in a couple of different outfits in episode 3.
Episode 3, she's wearing something a little bit more modern, a low cut. Well, all of her dresses are low cut. All of her outfits are low cut, but this one is a low cut and modern, like shirt and jeans or something.
No, because she had that long red kimono that she was wearing while she was laying on the floor communicating to him while he did his job in episode 3.
That's true, but also during episode 3 there was a baseball scene.
Yeah, because they were playing baseball at the very beginning and she struck him out.
And that's what she was wearing during that time. She changed,
no. Yeah. He was pitching, she hit the ball, she crashed the ball through someone's window, and she sent him to go get it. And
he got to go clean up the mess that she made.
So that's why she was in that outfit. But anyway,
which makes you wonder.
Let's go ahead and get back to episode 2.
Yeah, it makes you wonder what kind of plans she has for him, because he's doing all these things that seems to put her in debt to him. If she's doing like these equivalent exchange things, it seems like she's having him do all these things that put her in debt to him for something happening later down the road.
Maybe. I don't know. Or she's just messing with him because it has nothing to do with wishes. And she seems to have that kind of personality. But anyways, episode 2, a customer comes in. It's the first time he's seen a customer in her shop.
Yes.
And he and the twins are watching this girl. Mm-hmm. And he and the girls are watching through an open door.
Yeah.
As she talks to this woman. And this woman just has this dead look in her eyes. And she's like, I don't know why I'm here. Well, she's complaining about her pinky and how her pinky doesn't move anymore. Or it's very, very stiff, very heavy to move. And Yuko's like, okay, tell me about yourself. I was like, what's your name? My name is this. What's your job? Oh, I work at this place. How old are you? I'm 21. And she's giving all this information. And as she's talking, black smoke is coming out of her finger.
Mm-hmm.
And Yuko's just like, okay, here, wear this ring on your finger and try to break your bad habit. And the woman's like, what bad habit? I don't have any bad habits. And Yuko's like, okay, I'll probably see you again soon. And the woman gets up and leaves after putting the ring on her pinky. Mm-hmm. And the next day she comes back. And the ring is now cracked. And the woman's like, well, now it's my entire arm. My entire arm is just stiff. I don't know why. And Yuko's just like, okay, have you worked on your bad habit? And she says, well, I don't have any bad habits. And she sits there and thinks, and she's like, I don't have any bad habits. I'm a good person. I don't do anything wrong like that. And Yuko's like, okay. And the girl leaves, and Yuko says, we're not going to see her again. To which Watanuki's just like, wait, what? What do you mean? It's like, her bad habit's going to consume her. We're not going to see her again. Yeah, type thing.
Yeah. And at this point, the audience can pretty much tell what the bad habit is, and I've already spoiled it by saying it a little bit earlier. But it becomes patently clear to Watanuki that she is a serial compulsive liar.
Mm-hmm. Well, and he learns it while he chases after her and sees her leave her office, which is a completely different place than where she claimed to work.
She said, well, she said she was going to go on a date with somebody. She made a promise to be somewhere
with her boyfriend. She was going to be on a date with her boyfriend.
So she ends up going, and then she ends up at where she works, at a dentist office, which is not where she said she worked. She said she worked for a talent agency or something, or a marketing agency of some kind.
Yeah, I don't really remember, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
All that matters is that it wasn't a dentist office. And then she talks about and then Watanuki overhears some other girls talking about her and how she's been how she's been lying about what boyfriend she's with, and she always goes to these mixers with us, but she
always says different things.
That every 6 months it seems to be somebody new. And
last time it was a doctor. The time before that it was an upcoming actor. So, and like, she's 28. So
she meets somebody in this. She meets somebody who's taking surveys, and the person taking the survey starts asking her questions, and she just makes up answers. She lies about her age, lies about her occupation, lies about her marital status.
I'm 24. I'm here. Yes, I'm married. I'm happily married.
I'm 20. Yeah. And then she runs into somebody else she knows, walking across the sidewalk, and the black cloud around her is just getting thicker and thicker. And she runs into somebody she knew from before, and she comments on the ring, says, "Oh, are you getting engaged?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm about to be engaged, but this isn't the engagement ring. It's kind of an old antique." He's shopping for an engagement ring, and just lying more and more until eventually, they were talking in a crosswalk. And then the crosswalk's like, all right, time to get out. And they leave the crosswalk.
Well, we should point out that Yuko also told her to never take off that pinky until you've broken your bad habit. Don't take off that pinky don't take off that ring until you've broken your bad habit.
Well, her bad habit, the ring is absorbing the negative energy she's producing with all of her lies. And it's getting darker and more dingy with every lie she tells. And she doesn't even understand the connection. She goes, oh, I should probably polish this. And Watanuki runs to warn her not to take it off, and she takes it off. and suddenly she's paralyzed all over her body.
Mm-hmm.
The light changes, and Truck-kun comes barreling down.
Yep, I was like, oh, hey, Truck-kun's going to isekai her.
And honestly, I haven't checked the manga. I mean, I used to have volumes 1 through 3, and now I'm actually missing volumes 1 and 3, and so I need to, pick them up again. So I don't know which chapter is in. I could flip through volume 2 to see if the chapter happens to be in there, but I don't know. But I swear I don't remember her living in the manga. But in the anime, they add a little bit of extra, happy ending to the thing where getting hit by a truck wasn't fatal, and Watanuki takes her to the hospital, and she maybe she turns her life around and maybe she doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
But Watanuki returns back to the to Yuko's shop, and Yuko reminds him, "I told you didn't have to come back today."
Oh yeah, she said don't bother coming back today when he left. We didn't actually mention that before, but yeah, she says you'll just do you'll do today's work tomorrow as well. Mm-hmm. So anyway,
and that's episode 2. So the show actually is when I read the manga, I remember it being about as dark as the first few chapters of Yu-Gi-Oh. Where people you'd never know it from the anime, but the first few chapters. Can you describe the first few chapters of Yu-Gi-Oh?
The first 2 chapters, Yugi, when he first unleashes Yami Yugi or whatever they call him in the show, when he first starts getting possessed by him, he kills people with his games. Like, it's not like, oh, I'm going to send you to the Shadow Realm or things like that. Like, honestly, I don't know how faithful the translation of the show is to the manga, because I never really.
It was kind of a
I stopped kind of paying attention. I stopped paying attention to it. I was not the target audience, but I have the first issue of the manga, and he, didn't
he set somebody on fire?
I don't know if he set someone on fire, but he does. He does horrible things to people who are bad people.
Yeah,
but it's pretty dark what he does. I kind of want to go pull it out and flip through it, but you know what? Whatever, it's fine.
Yeah. I just remember one game where he did something, and this guy is pouring alcohol from a bottle into a glass, and he puts a lighter on the guy's hands. And for whatever reason, he does something, and it causes the guy to spill the alcohol on himself.
You're right.
And then he drops the lighter onto himself and sets himself on fire because he lost whatever game they were playing.
Another one that he does, I don't remember the exact purpose, but he was gambling. He was rolling dice with somebody. And the higher the roll meant, if you rolled higher, it means you lose.
Yeah.
And this guy was like some kind of a TV producer or something like that, but he was just a skis bag. And so Yugi rolled the dice first, and he rolled a 6 on a D6 on a 6-sided dice. And this guy's mocking him, saying, there's no way I'm going to go ahead and roll any higher than that. And so, him being the jerk that he is, he takes the dice and he throws it at Yugi's head instead of just rolling it on the ground.
That's right.
The dice, Yugi held up his pyramid, and it hit the edge of the pyramid and split the dice in 2. And when it landed, it showed 6 pips and 1 pip. So it was 7. Instead of a 6.
I thought it was like 3 and 4, but it could have been 6
it's a 6 and a 1, because the 1 is the eye that Yugi has on his pyramid.
Right.
And the guy, from then on, his vision is just static. Like you see his eyes just go like static on like on an old TV,
like old TV Snow.
TV Snow. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so he just does this to people who lose challenges against him, and it's just nothing like the. And so yeah, the manga for Holic was just as dark.
So
the fact that they've had these that the lying girl lived is not something I remember happening.
Yeah,
It might have
been taken to the hospital.
Yeah, she didn't
Yeah.
need to be taken to the hospital, but I just don't remember. It might have. Might have. Anyway, so that's episode 2. Episode 3
Starts with the baseball game that we already talked about.
We talked about. And these episodes now seem to be, kind of monster of the week or wish of the week.
That's a good description that I read on the wiki. That the first arc is very, very much monster of the week before it starts getting into other things. I did not read beyond that because I was like, well, if I watch more of the show, I don't want to be spoiled.
Sure.
But anyways, they.
So this one we after he comes back complaining about all the cleanup he had to do because of her baseball going through somebody's window, and he's there to complain. The girl he likes, what was her name?
Himawari.
Himawari shows up, and he immediately goes from being, viciously complaining.
I think I just got trick-or-treaters.
Oh. Well, Himawari introduces the next.
Hi guys, I actually don't have any candy. This is the first time I've ever had trick-or-treaters. I'm so sorry. Sorry, guys.
All right.
I frickin' knew it. I have lived in this apartment for almost 5 years now. I'm on my 5th year here. This is my 5th Halloween in this apartment. I bought candy for the previous 4 years and never got a single trick-or-treater. I knew if I wasn't going to buy candy tonight, someone was going to show up, and I just had to turn away 2 little boys who looked very disappointed that I didn't have any candy. I'm a monster.
So guess what my son's wearing for Halloween today?
Nothing?
He's Trogdor.
You're gonna have
he's
to
got an all green. He's got an all green outfit. He's got paper wings stapled to the back of a shirt, and he's got a flesh tone colored towel wrapped around.
He didn't know about Trogdor before a couple of weeks ago when we played the game with him.
That's right. And now he's obsessed. He's drawing Trogdor on the boards at school. He's it's his new big thing.
I have never been prouder as an uncle.
Yes.
I introduced him to Trogdor, the Burninator.
Yes, you did.
You should have him play the game on homestarrunner.com.
Oh, I should, but I should have you come over and we should play the game together with my whole family.
If I find the time for that. But anyway,
or lend it to me.
Huh?
Or lend it to me?
No. Like I'm going to lend that game out anytime soon. Anyways, so his Himawari and Domeki actually show up, and they get introduced to Yuko. And
Mori introduces the conflict of the episode. She mentions that a friend's school has been really dark lately, but there's a fun little interaction where Himawari just by being there turns Watanuki into this. Oh, you're so just a try hard trying to get her to like him. And which just gives Yuko just untold amounts of devilish glee.
And she's just like, well, here's the Himawari is like, yeah, my friends, it's been our school seems to be possessed by this evil spirit. And their school seems to be possessed by an evil spirit. She's like, I was hoping you guys could do something about it. And Yuko's just like, here. All right, I think this is a great job for Watanuki-kun. And he's like, wait, what? And she later on when they're in her place and she's changing behind this.
And he absolutely agrees while she's there, while Himawari is there. But after she leaves, he's like, what did I just agree to? I don't know anything about helping getting rid of spirits in a possessed school. It's like, why couldn't you know what this is going on, Yuko? Why would you do this? Like,
well, and
do you really want me to? Do you really want?
She's changing behind this kind of paper door, and we see her shadow change and stuff like that. And every once in a while, she'll reach out and hit him on the back of the head or something like that. And she's like, I couldn't have taken the job unless I took payment from her. Do you really think that? Did you really want her to take payment from me? And he's like, oh.
And then his mind goes into what would he take from Himawari? Like, maybe her first kiss. And the shot starts to go towards that direction when she smacks him in the like what's deprived, like he says some word, something like some deprived uh behavior would she be engaged in, and Yuko smacks him in the back of the head again, like, don't say that thing about, don't use those words to describe me.
But anyways, she gets him to agree to bring
because then
Domeki along.
And he, well, first she gets him to agree to actually do the thing because Himawari will owe him a debt, and that's a good place for him to be, is to have and so he's liking that idea, and then he's being told, and that fact alone is the only reason he actually agrees to let his hated rival join him on this quest. And he's also so they agree to meet up at the school, but before he goes there, he is given a magical item to help him on his quest. These items is a pair of magical headphones that when two people wear them, no matter how far apart they are, they can listen to each other automatically via magic instead of like a telephone or something. But there's something interesting about these headphones.
You wrote it down. You get to say it.
Okay. They are identical to cheese ears in Chobits.
Yep. And he's super embarrassed to wear them, and she's just like, Yuko's just like, it's okay. They're important. We can communicate with each other. Don't have to worry about it. Also, there's one more really, really important reason that you need to keep wearing those. You need to wear them. And what's that? Because they're cute. Totally messing with him. He gets super mad, and then Domeki sees him with those headphones on. He's like, "Oh, aren't those cute?" You know, which of course makes Watanabe even angrier.
Yeah, Domeki makes the absolute worst decision he could right then, and just go, "Well, I guess you just like cute things," and just doesn't even care. He's so cool about it that he doesn't even care that this guy's wearing these cool things. Like, at least react. At least make fun of me. Don't act like this is normal for me. Watanuki is not handling the situation well. And so they hop the fence and go into the school, and Domeki has no sense of what's going on around him. He's following along and obeying and is happy to help and is very stern and serious, actually comes across a little bit like, no, he's a more serious version of Sakura's older brother in terms of his the way he behaves himself. But he doesn't sense spirits at all. Meanwhile, there are dark clouds coiling around the school like a snake.
And we should probably point out that in episode 2, once the smoke appeared out of that woman, the client from episode 2, he could smell bad things. Like there was this reeking smell coming from her when that smoke started appearing, and it's the same thing here. The sense of smell gets stronger as they go further into the school, but Domeki doesn't smell anything. It's all just Watanuki.
Just realized that the anime came out in 2006. 2005 was the first season of Supernatural, which also features demons existing as black smoke and the smell of sulfur.
Okay.
So, anyway, ties there. No, but what happened? So as he's going deeper and deeper into the school, the smell is getting worse and worse. As and that's how they are able to find. And they go up to the rooftop, and they see 3 high school girls surrounding a standard high school desk, with 2 of them holding a pen at the same time, like hands clasped like this. and doing this sort of Ouija board thing called Angel.
Well, they call it Angel in an episode, which is another name for Kokuri-san, which is a game like the Ouija board in Japan.
Yeah.
I think they explain that in the subtitles or something like that.
Something like that.
But yeah.
So it's a board that has all the different letters, the different hiragana. And what you do is, as you're doing Ouija with a pen, you just go around circling the letters, and it spells out what you're trying to say. But written on this thing is in huge, like, the huge hiragana for shine, or die, or death.
She knew.
She knew. Okay. And so they've written this by script. The only way to have written it was to have scribbled over the area of where it is over and over and over again. It's a big letter with scribble fill, as it were. And so these girls are terrified. They don't know what's going on. They keep being told that if they let go, if they do anything, that this thing's going to kill them. And so they're stuck up there forever. And Watanuki gets into his head to help them out. He's going to force them to let go of the pen. And so he goes to do that. And Yuko tells him to wait a moment. And he says no and breaks them apart. And everything seems to be doing okay. Until it's so the girls scream and run to the edge of the building saying, "He's gonna kill us!" And they look like they're just in their madness going to jump over the side of the building. When Watanuki runs out, puts his hands out in between them and the railing, and just blocks them and says, "No, you're going to be fine. Don't worry about it." And it's at that point that Yuki says, "Don't touch them. They're ghosts." And it's revealed that all three of the girls were, in fact, an apparition created by a bunch of kids playing Ouija games in a high school for years and years and years, until eventually all the little bits and pieces of dark magic that they accidentally conjured coalesced into whatever this demon thing is. And what happens is the girls get they go black and get this creepy smile on their face, the crescent smile. That was very popular back then. In terms of what's kind of like the mad scientist that's Sailor Saturn's dad gets that creepy smile from time to time. I want to say
oh yeah, no, like that creepy smile also exists. Like I've been watching some more of
Soul Eater.
No. Well, the Dr. Frankenstein actually does have that creepy smile from time to time.
Sure.
No, but I've watched Soul Eater a lot, so I don't know if I'm going to watch it again. It was Dusk Maiden of Amnesia.
Yes, I've been catching up on that too.
We see the evil
7.
ghost at the end.
I'm up through episode 7 on that right now.
Okay. So have you met the evil spirit yet, or have you seen the evil spirit? So
yes,
the night that they're hanging out. The episode where they hang out, or where they spend the night at the school for paranormal activities during summer. Very end of that episode, the evil spirit is standing over the one girl, Otome, I think that's what her name was. Who and like she has one of those, and like she ends up with one of those big toothy grins. So it's like that.
Very Cheshire. Yes, and so they get the grin on their face and immediately push him over the side of the railing. And this whole time, the big clue that they were ghosts is this whole time, Domeki didn't see anything. And Domeki, when he sees Watanuki go over the edge, rushes and grabs him by the arm and has him dangling there over the side. And so that's when the girls change shape and become this blob monster. And the blob monster starts to attack Domeki, and so he doesn't see what's going on, but he obviously feels it as the blob monster starts attacking him, and blood starts running down Domeki's hand while he's trying to hold on to Watanuki. And Watanuki snaps out of whatever trance he was in, but when he got pushed over, and looks down and sees the black smoke that's been coiling around the school start to coalesce as well. And that forms a snake. And suddenly the snake eats the blob form that ends up rescuing Watanuki and Domeki.
Sorry, I had to step away from it a little bit because somehow Toby got this bag that has some leftover parts in it from when I made my entertainment center. And these two started clicking and it sounded like bells. So I had to get them away from him. Give him a different toy to play with. Sorry. Anyway.
But yeah, so now there's a giant snake, a spirit snake on the building, and it's okay, so it must have happened when he was pushed, but Watanuki loses the headphones, and they're lying on the...
Oh, no. Like, it's Domeki. Domeki pulls him back up, because it's established that Domeki's strong, he's good at sports, he's athletic.
Yes.
Pulls him up and kind of flings him over back onto the roof. And Watanuki, when he's flying through the air, that's when the headphones come off of him.
Okay, I just didn't remember. I didn't have a conscious memory of them still being on his head when he had been pushed. But they were
still on his head.
Okay. But yeah, so they go flying off, and so he can no longer get advice from Yuko, while they're cornered by this snake. And Yuko, very wisely, just shouts some sort of taunt or something at the snake, and the snake eats the headphones and leaves. And they're saved. So, and you're again left wondering, can she see the future? Is that how she knew that he had to have these devices specifically in order to save his life and get through the situation? A little Doctor Strange there.
Yeah, but so...
That's basically episode 3.
Episode 3 ends with them having another food party. And poor Watanuki, not only did he have to do all the work this episode, he also has to make the food for them. Yeah. So he, Yuko, Himawari, and Domeki are all outside at this park. I think it's actually maybe at their school. I don't remember. But and he's making takoyaki for everybody, and they're having a takoyaki party. And he's getting upset that he's stuck there making the food. And Domeki's like, "Oh, do you want this one?" I was like, "No, I don't want any sympathy from you." "Oh, okay. Well, in that case, can I have more?" "No, I haven't even had my first yet." So, yeah, that is pretty much the first 3 episodes of Holic. And I used to call this xxHolic, but I guess it's just Holic.
That's how they pronounce it.
Okay.
I think it's supposed to be, I don't know. I mean, I get the feeling that instead of being alcoholic, it's somebody who's addicted to spirits, but it's different kind of spirits.
Okay.
It's a kind of a play on words.
Okay, maybe. Okay, so what are your final thoughts on the show?
I want to keep watching it. Maybe. I definitely, because I don't know. I mean, I actually had a hard time watching it, streaming it on Funimation. There was something wrong with their streaming service on these episodes that I needed to look into, because for whatever reason, when I was watching it in the Japanese with the English subtitles, sometimes after an ad would play, the video wouldn't come back.
Oh, weird. And so, were you watching it on your computer, or?
Yeah. I was
watching it on my PS4, and it worked just fine.
Okay.
So I mean, the only thing was that ad, and then I actually was happy for this because after the ad, it would backload the video a little bit by a couple of seconds and then pick up where it was.
Oh, good.
So,
yeah. Now I don't know what ads you were faced with, but I got a lot of Patrick Warburton selling National Auto rentals?
I did not. I got Salt Lake Audi commercials.
Oh.
And there was a guy who was impersonating Patrick Warburton as a superhero. It was a bad impersonation. But it's obviously who they were trying. It was obvious to me who they were trying to channel.
Right.
Yeah. So the show's good. I enjoyed it. I don't think I'm in the mood for it, especially since I'm kind of already getting my kind of creepy, funny from watching Dusk Maiden of Amnesia, which I just want to. So this episode where they're spending the night at the school, they're at the pool, and the younger girl who's totally in love with Yuki, she got this new swimsuit, and she instantly asks, "So
frilly bikini,"
and she's got this frilly bikini, and she's like, "Well, how do you think I look?" And before he can answer, his head, and you hear the crack, and he's just like, "You go, please, you go, stop." And she's like, "Oh, he can't even look at me." And like every time she asks a question, he's actually responding to Yuko, and this poor girl gets so upset at the fact and so embarrassed by this bikini that she's wearing that she runs off and changes into her school swimsuit. And it cuts as she runs past, and we just see Yuko holding his head like this, forcing him not to look at her.
Yeah, it's so painful to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's even the episode thumbnail.
Yeah,
is Yuko holding his head like that.
That's I think that's episode 4 or 5.
I want to say it's 4. I want to say it was 4. No, it was episode 4 because it was the episode right after the first 3 episodes. It goes right into the bikinis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah.
So I guess
I've only watched
now I do want to watch. Here's the thing: is I've read all of the Tsubasa manga, and Watanuki plays a major role in the climax of Tsubasa. Like there's some interdimensional astral plane walking, and Watanuki becomes majorly involved. And I kind of wanted to just get all of Holic so I could see Watanuki's journey to getting there as well, because there's some cross reference to things that aren't in both series.
Mm-hmm.
Like they didn't double up on everything. Like they made it so you had to watch both to get 100% of it.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay, I do know that there's multiple Holic series. There's multiple arcs, but yeah, like I think that's a good show. It just isn't what I'm in the mood for right now to spend my free time on. But anyways, this is the end of October. Happy Halloween, by the way. This episode's going to go up on November 1st, so we're going to miss you by a little bit. But anyways, with it being November next month, our theme month is going to be food. And I found an anime that seems to be a shonen anime about, making food. And no, it is not Toriko. Anyways, so this is a shonen anime by the name of Yakitate Japan.
Okay.
Just a moment.
Did they really just name the main character Kazuma Azuma?
Apparently, yeah. That's what it was on Crunchyroll. But yeah, this description is from Crunchyroll. Kazuma Azuma wants to make bread. Not just any kind of bread, though. He wants to make a bread that represents Japan itself and can stand toe-to-toe with rice as a national food. Thanks to his legendary Hands of the Sun, unnaturally warm hands that allow dough to ferment faster, Kazuma's bread is like a slice of heaven. And when the Pantastia Rookie Competition arrives, everyone will get a taste of his skill. Along with his friend Kawachi, he'll go up against koala karate masters, Harvard-bred scientists, samurai with rolling pin swords, and more as he bakes his way to glory. So this sounds absolutely ridiculous. So anyways, so yeah, that's what we're going to be watching for our first episode for Food Month. So let's move on from 3 episodes in, since we just wrapped that up, and let's go ahead and move to recommendation of the week, and it is your pick.
It is my pick. And I've been tossing back and forth which ones I'd recommend this week. And for a little while, I was thinking about Twin Star Exorcists because, on the one hand, it has the elements of it's kind of a Halloween-y thing where they're fighting demons and exorcising them, but there's also this running gag where the main girl had written these comics about a sentient piece of food. Do you remember that?
Yes. Uh-huh. And she's this prodigy in like everything, but her art sucks. But anyways, so
yes. And so her main character was what was it? Some sort of like bean dumpling?
Yes. Remember? I forget. Sorry, Toby just knocked over some stuff. I forget what it's kind of this sweet black bean paste.
Yeah.
That was her favorite snack.
Yeah.
And so because she loved it so much, she made a comic based off of it.
Yeah. About a superhero who was a black bean paste ball.
Something like that, yeah. Anyways, so...
But after your description of the anime we're watching next week, I decided my recommendation of the week is actually going to go to Stephen Chow's God of Cookery. Because you're literally, as you're saying, Hands of the Sun, I'm reminded of the scene where like the villains break his cooking, like his stove or something, and so he has to use his chi to boil the water of the ramen bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so. Picture, if you will, this is the guy. Stephen Chow is the guy who made Kung Fu Hustle and Shaolin Soccer. So picture the guy behind those kind of projects doing an entire movie about this guy who thinks he's all that when it comes to cooking, and then has to be brought low and trained how to become even better than he was before. And I mean, first off, there are entire sequences dedicated to the concept of having meatballs so bouncy they could be used for ping pong, and are.
Yeah, he learns Kung Fu so he can use Kung Fu on the ingredients to make the food better.
Yes.
And it's ridiculous and wonderful.
Yeah. He's sent to this monastery of the gold monks, and every time he tries to escape the gold monks appear, do this whole, every last one of them has some kind of pose that they do, and then every last one of them pulls out a collapsible gold stool and beats the tar out of him with the stools like it's WWE.
Three of them are standing in front of the mob that are beating him up and just constantly posing in martial arts poses, while the rest of them, of these kung fu masters, are beating the tar out of him with folding chairs.
Yes. And then they just drag him across the ground, leaving a blood smear. And this happens three times. So, comedy comes in threes sometimes. I remember watching that with you guys at an impromptu theater in a classroom on BYU campus or something.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was a great night. That was an amazing movie. Thank you for inviting me to that. All those years ago.
Sorry. Amazon has a bunch of classic Stephen Chow movies on Prime already. Like, they've got Love on Delivery, which is just Stephen Chow takes on the role of a delivery boy for fast food joint, and Hong Kong's comedy diet is never quite the same. A top blockbuster of 1994, Love on Delivery delivers laughs, romance, and kung fu as only Chow can. And then Justice My Foot, where he plays a corrupt judge back in ancient China. It's wow, because I was looking at prices for God of Cookery. Oh, here's another one. Out of the Dark. That's a very early Chow movie. Mm-hmm. Anyways, sorry. Yeah. Okay.
We're good.
Yeah. There's a bunch of Stephen Chow movies already on Amazon Prime. How did I not know this? This is incredible.
All right.
Anyways, sorry. Stephen Chow is incredible. If you guys haven't seen his stuff yet, so that's it for recommendation of the week. Let's go ahead and move on to creator shout out. And I want to go ahead and give a shout out to Robert Chu. He doesn't exactly need a shout out from us, but if you go to his art station and also his Facebook, which we'll have links to, you'll see that he is a concept designer for Borderlands. A lot of his art is the concept for Borderlands 3. But the reason that I picked him is because he has this incredible series of humans interacting with robotic animals. And the robotic animals are just majestic. They're incredible to look at. So go ahead and give this guy's work a look. And
I'm currently looking at this one where they have owls the size of cars next to what appears to be a woman with a compound bow. These mechanical owls the size of cars.
Huh.
Look incredible. I'm here on the ArtStation link that we're going to share with this. It's like third from the last one if you scroll down to his...
If you're on our website, it's going to be posted in the description of this episode. If you're watching on YouTube, it's going to be in the little description below. So we'll go ahead and post everything there. So go ahead and check out Robert Chu's stuff if you haven't already. It's fantastic stuff. Anyways, thanks so much for listening in this week. If you listened on YouTube, please feel free to like this episode and subscribe to our channel. If you like what we do and want to support us, please share our channel with your friends. Where can they find us on social media?
Our site, WhittakerWeekly.com, currently has the links to our Facebook page, Twitter account, and YouTube channel. We encourage all our listeners to follow us on the social media platform of their preference, and if there's one we're not on yet, please reach out to us on one of the ones we've mentioned, and we'll broaden our scope to include you.
All right. Well, thank you so much for listening in, you guys. I'm going to go ahead and give a shout out to Ben Coombs for providing the artwork for us.
And a special thanks to Brazmataz for the use of their song Drykolk that we used to open and close this podcast.
All right. Well, you guys have a great week. I've been Andrew.
I've been Lee.
Catch you guys later.